stop your shit, I'm the shit, just give it up. Everything is okay, even when I'm not. Time to bring it to the table.
Everybody, welcome back. This is Everything Is Okay. I'm your boy OK. I hope you guys had a good Monday. Don't worry about my phone right now. I should have muted it. Very unprofessional. So yeah, yesterday I dropped my, well, this morning I should say, but last night I dropped my first episode of my podcast. I had a great interviewee on in Be Good. Of course, I had Alan. You know, you get Alan. We're a team. It was good. Everything I kind of been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to do this for so long. And I kind of lost sight in not doing it. I promised myself that I would start my podcast in August. If I'm not mistaken, we're about to roll into December. You know, it takes a lot to remind yourself of your purpose. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you guys today about. I wanted to bring to the table my purpose, the purpose for this. Why I choose to want to talk with people and be transparent and laugh and be myself, more or less. You know, I'm finding myself while I'm being myself. I know that could make sense for a lot of people. I mean, the purpose of this, the definition of purpose is the reason in which something happened. I'll start from the top, why and how this happened, as far as my understanding. And I will be giving you guys these excerpts, you know, to give you more defining reason to the purpose of this. My purpose in general, as I see it fit right now. So starting with this podcast, I think what honestly started the trickle was my close friend passing away. My close friend passed away December 2017. Wow, what a roller coaster. I can't even... and there's, of course, a lot more backstory, but to get to the top layer, he was one of the people I made music with. He was a person that offered me his house, his companionship, his love, his family. He was the person that... He was like my older uncle. You know, like, he always corrected me and be a man. You know, Shannon's line was always be a man. He passed away. I'll give my own episodes to give you guys more detail. But like I said, beginning of my trickle. He's the one in the rear back right there holding the baby. He passed away. That's December 2017. Now we roll later in that year. We hit 2018, during which time I lost a couple more of my... I wouldn't say they were as close, of course not as close as me and him were. But again, a loss is a loss, and it's never... Just because I don't have understanding of your loss doesn't mean that it isn't a loss to you. So, like, shout out to Jimmy Burns, shout out to Roach. You know, shout out to Platano, shout out to Carnage. Those are people that and if I forgot anybody during the 2018 year that passed away, I apologize. But those four specific people besides Shannon, I knew. So I'm rolling from the end of 2017. Now, I had also just lost my apartment. So I went back to live with my parents, who had moved out. But I stayed in this apartment for about a day with no heat and hot water, because I didn't have like a place to go. I didn't have a place to be. Again, adds on to purpose, I guess. Rough 2017. Then we go into 2018. My sister's diagnosed with cancer. She's right there, the princess with the flowers on her hair. My sister gets diagnosed with cancer. Wow, you couldn't even... I couldn't put no more sauce on the spaghetti. I don't know how to take that when I got hit with that right hook to the chest. You know, I got hit with that right hook to the chest, and I'm not her parent. I wasn't her parent, but I raised my... If anybody knows me, if anybody knows anything about me, I raised my sister from the minute she slid out of my mom's womb. My parents didn't have the privilege of being home. My parents worked them 9 to 5s, 40 plus hours a week to pay rent, and they couldn't always be there. You know, parents' jobs are to be providers first. Sometimes they're not always there to indulge in the emotional moments and indulge in the moments that grow you up. And not to say my parents weren't there, but I can honestly say my sister was the closest thing to having a daughter that I've ever like experienced, if that makes any sense. You know, like I nurtured that girl. You know, before she played piano. She was lead singer, inspired to do acting. She was the only Asian that didn't know her way around a TV or a computer, but her talents were unmatched, and I always tried to make sure she saw the beauty within herself. And I think that's what made her turn out, even to her last day dying, to the day she died. You know, I got footage of her telling a joke. You know, I have footage of her telling a joke, and I can't hold you guys. I can't hold it. It does. I refrain from looking at those videos because it does hurt. You know, I have to be absolutely honest. It does hurt, but they're there. You know, just like I guess the thought that I'm supposed to always know she's in my head and in my heart. I'm supposed to always know that. That's there in the physical. You know, I can if I want to look at it, I can, and it's hard. Now that happens. I mentioned her passing away, but that isn't until later. We're still in 2018, December 2018. I know you see him partially in the corner, but in the bottom corner, he's the face with the glasses on it. That's my uncle. He's on the logo, just along with my friend and my sister. All three of those people are on the logo. My uncle, December 2018, passes away. In this episode, I don't really want to give too much detail into how they passed, only because that's something that's a deep cut. You know, I preach everything is okay, but to stand in front of this camera or to have these conversations with people in general, because I had to have these conversations off camera with so many people in order for me to gain the strength and realize my purpose. Realize the reason why I wanted this to happen was because I lost three parts of my heart all in one swift woof. Like, my God, it was like life was driving the car, right? And I had no control. See that, right? That'll probably happen from time to time when I speak about things that strike a nerve somewhere in the universe. But it was like life was driving the car, and I had no control of what stops it made, who it ran into along the way, when I would get gas, refill, who would be the one fixing a flat tire, what would I do when I got a flat tire. Like, but besides the fact that in my character I love cars, I compare a lot of my personal situations and things that I go through to life driving the vehicle. You know, and when I think about it that way, I can't help but think it's a race. Not in a and shouts to Aries, I'm not an actor, because he put me on to let the competition shit go in your brain. Even if it is there, that's not something you have to. So when I say I'm in a race with life, I mean life is like, it's either in the cockpit or in my passenger seat. And I'm in a race with that. I'm not racing nobody else. Because who wants to race to the finish line? We all know what the finish line is, right? The finish line is where those three people are. Nobody wants to race for the finish line. Nobody's racing to die. You know, and to avoid that, and to avoid those thoughts, because I don't want to come off and seem like I'm crazy. I don't want to come off and seem like, listen, when it comes to pain, the purpose of everything is okay is so that I can learn how to manage, cope, and understand my pain through conversation. I guess that sums up my purpose. If I'm putting it, if you guys are staying with me, and I'm pretty sure you are. You know, the reason in which I've started this was because I lost 3 close things to my heart, and I have yet to put an understanding. Like, I know death may not be something to understand, but it's something to perceive. It's something to learn a lesson from. The only lesson that I got from it was purpose. You know, you can take a person's mistakes, and you can't even say like I mean, I get, yeah, you have to listen to the messenger. You have to listen to the message rather, and not kill the messenger. And I think that's what happens, because the way in which I got my messages delivered was through death. You know, if I'm 30 years old, something had to activate to where which now I decide to open my eyes to my purpose. I'm more than convinced. I'm more than convinced now more than ever. You know, every time that I hit a wall or a blockade of some sort, and even just today, I just released, a first episode of my podcast, and I can't say that I haven't hit not blockades, but conversations that have been, maybe they were in place to be a challenge so I can define my purpose. Now, had I got these conversations and they would have moved me in such a way after I put out this, and I'm not saying it's because of the episode that was put out. No, I think it's because no good deed goes unpunished. I think that if you fall off your for a second, if you think everything is okay legitimately in your head, you have to stand by that. And that's why I run this episode too, to talk about my purpose with you, because I want to stand by it. Regardless of anything that has deterred me in the past, a part of me gets, yes, I get discouraged at the fact that, not discouraged, but bothered about myself, that it took people to die in my life for me to discover some type of purpose. I couldn't look in the mirror and say, yo, you do it because you. You know what I mean? I couldn't. And not to say I don't toot my own horn. You know, I could suck my own dick better than most. You know what I mean? But I'm just not I just don't brag about it. I don't carry myself that way. I didn't feel as if I was good enough to be in the car with life, which is why life made all these stops. And we hit all these speed bumps, and we went off road, and we still motherfucking driving. And the reason we driving is because I decided not to jump out of the car. I decided to stay next to life, because I'm like, fuck it, dogs. We're driving to a purpose. Matter of fact, let me take that back. Now we're driving with a purpose. Now, my friend Albert asked me before I started this, I was inspired. Yo, this thing has been in the making. You can see my first Instagram post when I made that picture. It was probably in the making like 2 months before that. This thing has been in the making and hasn't been made. You know, I've been so discouraged off of little things. One thing that really threw me off my table, that I knew I had to discover a purpose in this shit, was my neighbor Al. My neighbor Al put it on me. We were having a conversation. If I'm not mistaken, we were watching rap battles. He's a big rap battle head, and he was here, and he asked like, "What? Why do you think people are going to want to listen to you talk? Like, what's the reason for, what are you giving back to people? What are you giving back to people? From my understanding and my learning of, because I love to study. So I study the people that do these things, that podcast. I'm in a podcast. You know what I mean? I learned from the person that taught me. You know what I mean? I learned watching her. You know, like that's how I got my knowledge from it. And same way I learned watching her, I'll learn watching other people that do these things. And yes, you have some you have some places where it's just a joke or just a laugh, but that's the purpose of it. Some podcasts are just for a laugh. Some podcasts are informational. You know, when he asked me what the purpose of my podcast is, I couldn't find an answer. He left me speechless. I walked upstairs with a ... Turned around and came back. Yo, bro, I had to call him on it because I was so bothered by it. So bothered by it. I had to wait, get my thoughts together, and call him because I'm like, what the fuck is, what makes me any different from anybody else that gives me the permission to sit here and talk on a camera or on a podcast, on a beat? What makes me any more different than you? What makes me special? You wait for it, right? Because I'm doing it. Because I want to. That's the purpose of this. Because I've seen too much. I don't even say I've seen too much, because everybody has a story. But this is mine. This is my purpose. They gave me the purpose to want to tell my stories to you guys, so you guys understand that no matter how crazy life gets, no matter how fucked up things may be, no matter who you are today, if you're willing to change and you're willing to be better, then everything is okay. There is nothing that can be taken away from you. You know, I can't sit here and say that I don't get bothered by the things that people tell me. I'm only human. I'm only human. It's when you don't get bothered by things that you're something else. I don't know what to call you at that point. Because if you're not bothered by what people say that are close to you, I'm not talking about the internet where I'm talking about people close to you. If you're not bothered by that, if you're not bothered, then you haven't found a purpose. You haven't found a reason to stand up for yourself and you're believing whatever the hell you believe in. I have found a purpose. I found something to stand up for and believe in. And that is everything is okay. No matter how deep this life cuts. Because this life cuts deep. You think so? You know, Sylvester Stallone has one of the best lines in history in Rocky. And that is, nothing's going to hit you harder than life. Nothing's going to hit you harder than life. And it's not how hard you get hit. It's how many times you get hit and you keep getting back up. And you know how you get back up? Because you got to know everything is fucking okay. I don't mean to curse. I got to stop cursing. You got to know it. That's what I believe in. It's not a religion. I ain't Kanye out here trying to start a cult. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even trying to get people on a bandwagon. God knows my worst talent is marketing myself. God knows my worst talent is saying, hey, come get me. Buy me. Hey, yeah. Like, I know I'm just now understanding my self-value. And that's another thing. Maybe for a whole different conversation to be had. But once you find your purpose, you find your value. Once you find your reason for doing something, you find value in doing it. And that's the stride I'm on. That's the steps that I've been taking in those directions. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I still stumble from the mistakes I've made years ago. What am I to do? Am I supposed to trip over those rocks and let them keep me on the floor? Are you supposed to trip over those rocks and let them keep you on the floor? We all got a past. We also all have the permission to create a future. And that choice is yours. Just like this choice was mine to do this. So when I get asked by Al, when I get asked by you, when I get asked by anybody, but why you want to do this? What are you giving back? What's the purpose? I'll just turn around and tell them, because I lost the 3 loves in my life, but everything is okay. And I think that's all I got for y'all. What I got? I'm not on a time schedule or anything like that. That's the great part about having your own set. You're not on a time schedule. You know what I mean? Nobody. It's not like being at a job. You know, when you're at a job, you're at your 9 to 5. That shit sucks. I love my job. Don't get me wrong. But I guess the problem why people are unhappy with work, in my opinion, is because purpose. I think they haven't found no purpose in work. If your purpose on work is only to pay your bills, then it's like you already won half the battle in being miserable. I work to pay my bills. That's not a good purpose. It's definitely defined. I ain't gonna tell you to stop working. You gotta pay your motherfucking bills. I'm just trying to tell you, find some purpose in it. Find something that really drives you to not want to only pay your bills, but find yourself as a person. You know, I state again, it sucks that it comes from a negative place in which I found my purpose. It sucks that I couldn't just be a bright young man and like go to college, do your 8-year bid, right? Or go to the army, or go, you know, like that's not that I don't place a blame. I don't place a blame on anybody for that. Because those are decisions that you make, but you only make these decisions with the proper purpose. I never had a purpose. I never had one at all. And not having a purpose, I think, is the scariest thing that I could have ever dabbled in. Not having a purpose creates insecurities. Not having a purpose leaves areas in your life where now you become a bearer of pain for people. You look to hurt people because you don't have a purpose, or you may not know any better. Making wrong decisions such as I have. Not making decisions with your heart has been my problem. And that's because I didn't have a purpose, a reason to do it. You know, I never realized how much I care for people until they were taken away from me, but they're still alive, if that makes any sense. These people are gone, taken. There are people that treat me like I'm dead, even though I'm here. That occurs because of things you've done in your past. That occurs because I didn't have a purpose. I didn't move with heart. I didn't move the right way. I can admit that now because I have found one. I hope that whatever your path that you guys have to take, that you have to take, that you open your eyes to your purpose and don't let that shit be your downfall. Understand it's your reason. Cause every day I fight with the emotions that those 3 specific people have endowed within me. I fight with those emotions. But I don't let life throw me out there. I don't let life just control the car by itself no more. I'm on the map now. I'm telling life, maybe we should do this though. Maybe we should do that though. And I did that because I found some purpose. I found some purpose, and it made everything a little bit better. It made everything a lot of okay though. You know, not having a purpose is a scary thing. You're running around with no understanding of who you are. No understanding of who you are. And I'm sure we all have people like that and know people like that to be prime examples for us on how not to be. Find your purpose. Find your purpose. Whatever you got to do to find it. Find your purpose. Don't be scared of the challenges that come with that. You know, whether it takes speaking to somebody you haven't spoke to in years, whether it takes apologizing, whether it takes admitting something to yourself, whatever it may take, whether it may take taking a leap of faith, a challenge, do it. If there's a reason to do it, because in finding your purpose, you'll find yourself. With that, I'm out of here. You have a great day. I got SOBs December 1st. I look forward to that. I look forward to SOBs December 1st. Shout out to Artistry. Shout out more bookings. Wednesday, if everything goes great, and I'll say it here, and I'll post this up. Just because I feel confident that this is gonna happen. Wednesday, I look forward to having a podcast with Quest, Fate, aka Corey, aka Broadway, and someone, aka Christian. So y'all can look forward to that. I'll probably post that for Thanksgiving. And yeah, y'all be easy. I'm out of character. Everything's okay.
Stop your shit, I'm the shit, just give it up. Everything is okay, even when I'm not. Time to bring it to the table.